Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Roll call.
Gardner.
Yes.
Gray.
Here.
Horne.
Here.
Franzer. Here. Pop.
Here.
Stockton.
Here.
Vogel.
Present. I'm going to jump all the way down to the mayor's agenda, item G. We have Mr. Sam Consolo in the audience. Would you like to stand up, Sam? And we're going to do a little reading. This gentleman is somebody you all want to shake his hand. Sam, stand up. Stay up there, buddy. Great guy.
Thank you, Your Honor. We have a letter to Mr. Consolo dated August 3rd, 2012 from the Ambassador of France. Dear Mr. Consolo, I am pleased to inform you that by the decree of the President of the French Republic on July 25th, 2012, you have been appointed a Chevalier of the Legion of Honor. This award testifies to the President of the French public's highest esteem for your merits and accomplishments. In particular, it is a sign of France's infinite gratitude and appreciation for your personal and precious contribution to the United States' decisive role in the liberation of our country during World War II. The Legion of Honor was created by Napoleon in 1802 to acknowledge the services rendered to France by persons of exceptional merit. The French people will never forget your courage and your devotion to the great cause of freedom. It is a true pleasure for me to convey to you our sincere and warm congratulations. In order to determine the means of bestowing the insignia upon you, please contact Consulate in Miami. Naturally, I remain at your disposal in this regard. Once again, my heartfelt congratulations. Sincerely, Francois Delattre. August 13th.
Very much for your service. Yes, sir. If anybody was here for Sam that would wish to leave, you don't have to sit there through the rest of this. Now would be the best time.
Good. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Great party, you guys, over the other day.
Thank you.
Everybody comfortable? All right, that's going to bring us back to item C1, open to the public. Agenda items only. If you have a comment on what's in the agenda, let us know in 3 minutes. Bring up yourself to the podium, your name and your address, we appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Tom Joseph. I'm the Government Affairs Director on behalf of Main Street, Three Rivers Association of Realtors, and the Illinois Association.
Excuse me one second, please. Clerk, is yours how you want?
I'll speak up. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Is that a little better? Yeah. Thank you. Tom Joseph on behalf of the Illinois Association of Realtors, Main Street Organization in Three Rivers. I passed out some information for members of the Village Council. Mayor Togo, good to see you again. And I want to thank Mr. Wallace. I'm speaking in reference to Ordinance 1444, which is on your agenda this evening. I do want to thank Dave Wallace. We have been going back and forth in reference to this particular topic roughly about 4 to 5 months since basically the early spring of this year. And we've had a lot of different conversation about it, but I do want to thank him for all his efforts to address the issue earnestly and to attempt to at least to try to address as much of it as he possibly could, and the council is looking at it this evening. So I did pass out some information to you, but let me just begin by saying that we do support the effort to amend the ordinance this evening, and we felt that there was an effort to request in the old outline that there was an effort to ask for a original deed, quote unquote, and this issue in reference to a transfer of real estate, transfer of property, real property, became quite punitive in its effort for agents to come up with the original deed and to have to try to locate it and bring it forward and then to address that issue within the village. So we feel that this effort this evening helps correct that, and that's a positive thing. And but it's just like in all issues, in all cases and all issues, that doesn't mean that everything has been alleviated in our view. We do believe that there's a very specific statute on the books in reference to having a real estate transfer stamp, and that is an issue that we have addressed before this village council several years ago. It's 65 ILCS 5/8-3-19, and so I will not read it. So, everyone here can read, and it's very clear as to how that process is to go forward. I will just state in the record that in 2005 and 2007, the village of Monee held 2 referendas, and both of them failed. They were on a real estate transfer tax. As I recall, per the Will County Clerk's Office, the one in 2005 was for $50, and that was rejected at 67% of the voters voting no. And then in 2007, there was one for $100, and there was 72% that opposed it on that election, or that referendum election day. So, so the statute speaks very clearly in references to how that is to be going about. You also have a letter from the Will County State's Attorney, the State's Attorney's Office in that little outline that I provided to you earlier today, which references the fact that please be advised that I was asked to review the above-cited ordinance as it applies to the statutory duty of the Will County Recorder to record documents. As is indicated in your ordinance, it is the responsibility of the property owner to comply with the ordinance, and I know of no statutory authority allowing the recorder to reject documents transferring real estate within the village of Monee based upon a failure to display a payment stamp, quote unquote. Therefore, I am advising the Will County Recorder that future documents transferring real estate within the village of Monee should be recorded with or without a payment stamp, quote unquote. And that's from the State's Attorney's Office, as we had shared information with them related to this topic, and that was back in 2010. So, so you have that information before you. The only thing I really want to say, in just kind of wrapping it up, is that, as I said, we support the effort to clean up the effort in reference to the original deed request, and just to go with a deed which is prepared by an attorney before a transfer of property takes place. We do not believe the village has the right, because the statute speaks to the transfer stamp specifically, and so we do not believe that your home rule authority, which we respect under the laws in the Constitution of Illinois, which does not allow you to go that far ahead and apply a transfer stamp without it being approved by referendum. And then you do not believe, even under your home rule authority, you do not have the right under the law to determine title commitment. I want to use the proper wording here. You do not have the right to determine title commitment. That is by the General Assembly of Illinois. That is very specific. That is a statute under the General Assembly, and they and only the General Assembly can amend or prepare a title reference as far as legislation goes. So, in keeping that in mind, we support the effort to amend the deed aspect, but we still have some concerns related to the application of a payment stamp. And we appreciate the opportunity to visit with you once again this evening. And I do want to thank Mr. Wallace for his efforts to address the larger issues here and to at least advance the ball here this evening. So, thank you. Unless anybody has any questions for me, so I'll yield that. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else open and public? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I entertain a motion to accept consent agenda as is.
Second.
No discussion? Roll call, please.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes.
Horne.
Yes.
Franzer. Yes. Pop.
Yes.
Stockton.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item E, communications to the clerk's office.
I have nothing there.
Thank you, ma'am. Item F, administrator's report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do have a report. If I might, I'd like to take the opportunity, I've checked into a few things and would like to take the opportunity to at least recognize some achievements within our front office staff. And I have a prepared statement that I have, if I may read that. Deputy Clerk Powell has completed her required educational requirements and has received her registered clerk designation with the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. She now is going forward to achieve the next step, which is a certified clerk designation. These are all in efforts to better serve our community and in the proper way of running a municipality. Clerk Tobo has recently achieved her Master Municipal Clerk designation with the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. The Master Municipal Clerk designation is an award that few clerks accomplish. Our Clerk Tobo is one of 1,165 Master Municipal Clerks, and that is worldwide, not just in the United States. Clerk Tobo also is recently elected president of the Will Grundy Clerk Association. That association is made up of village clerks and deputy clerks from both counties and provides educational opportunities for professional development and networking which benefit the clerk's office and enhances the high level of services that clerks render to their respective communities. And with that, I'd like to conclude that I, for one, would like to applaud their educational accomplishments and achievements and congratulate them on their pursuit of professional excellence, which benefits our residents. And I see that on a daily basis as they deal with residents. And many times the things, achievements, personal achievements get overlooked, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to recognize those accomplishments. So, thank you very much. Item F1 on my agenda is the Police Department Architectural Services proposal. This is the second proposal that we have received from the Linden Group. It is pretty much self-explanatory. For an overview, basically it is a proposal to provide architectural services for final construction documents, bidding administration, and construction administration. And this all relates back to the police department and the water infiltration and damage that has been done there, and we're on our road to improve that. So the action requested this evening would be authorization to enter into the contract.
Entertain that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call,
Gray,
Yes.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Item number F2 on my agenda is the electrical aggregation opt-in program. An overview that I'll provide, if you recall back in the referendum in April, the aggregation referendum was not passed, and that was an opt-out program where we would join with other municipalities and seek a lower electrical supply rate. And since then, I've been working with the Will County Governmental League, who also administers the opt-out program, and they have provided an opportunity to run an opt-in program. Basically, the opt-in program is we can piggyback on with other municipalities for the obtaining of a lesser electrical supply rate, and once that is achieved, a contract is struck, then notification is sent out to all homeowners, and the homeowners have the opportunity to opt into that program if they feel that rate is better than the rate that they currently have. In a comparison against Commonwealth Edison, the rate is almost always significantly less. But nevertheless, this type of program, as with the other program, allows the homeowner to make the decision, and no one is making it for them. So what we have here is what I'm seeking is authorization to proceed with the opt-in program. That would require 2 public hearings and the adoption of the governance plan, which is attached. So if this does pass, the public hearings will be at 6:30 p.m. on September 17th and at 6:30 p.m. on October 10th, at which time any questions can be asked and answered by the public. And I will have representatives here from Will County Governmental League.
Item number 2, form of a motion. So moved. Second. Any discussion?
Yes, I just would, rather than discussion, I'd like to make a comment about it. There is no tax incurred, no charge to any residents. This is strictly something to save you money. So, attend the meetings and you'll learn more about it.
Roll call.
Horne,
I'm sorry. Yes. Yes.
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir. Item number F3 is a municipal indoor lighting grant. I have been working with a gentleman, Michael Stanch of the 360 Energy Group, on an indoor lighting grant that is available through the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus. And basically, the municipality is available to receive grant monies that would allow replacement of old magnetic ballast lights and to run more efficiently. Basically, the grants would be in the neighborhood of 78% funding of all of our replacement costs, and the possibility of an additional 14% added to the grant if we're able to complete this project by February the 14th. That would only leave approximately 8%, or in real numbers, about $1,900 or $2,000 that the municipality would have to pay. That indoor lighting grant covers all municipal buildings, from Public Works to the Village Hall and beyond. The authorization requested this evening is to proceed, authorization to proceed with the municipal indoor lighting grant. The deadline for submission is tomorrow.
I entertain that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Horne.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Item F4 is one that Attorney Krzyzewski has allowed me to bring forward, and it is the ordinance amending ordinance 1444, establishing a payment stamp. Heard Mr. Joseph speak to that earlier this evening. It was amending some wording that basically removes some hurdles and making it a little easier to transfer property, realtors to transfer property within the municipality. However, I want to make it clear that the integrity and intent of the ordinance remains, keeps the village whole. Council, if you have anything to add to that?
No, sir, I think you have everything ahead.
Very good.
Ordinance number, please.
1618.
Entertain that motion. Discussion? Yes. I'm sorry, good second.
Second it.
Discussion, yes. First of all, I'm glad that we're doing it because I've had realtors and talked to me and told them this is what it was and the responsibility of carrying it out. So maybe we can do to help people move into the community easily too. Pertaining to the stipulation that Mr. Joseph brought up, is it something that we need to review to consider actually putting it on as a referendum item, or what is the proper way to do this correctly?
Well, I think, I respect Mr. Joseph's opinion, I disagree with it. I think the payment stamp is still valid. Part of our concern was that some people were leaving the village without paying all the water bills. And I think we were probably, we said $5,000 since then, otherwise it goes with the law staff. It's not a transfer tax, it's a payment stamp. Other villages have done the same thing. We're not trying to be cumbersome. There's other villages, in fact, it took the ordinance from another village. So it's not the intent to make it difficult for the realtor or the attorney. All the intent was to make sure the village is made whole. $50 is minimum. I mean, Chicago was $9 per thousand. Orland Park is, or Oak Lawn is $7 per thousand. So $50 is probably a minimum. All we're trying to do is ensure the people who stay here don't have to pick up that bill for the people who left. But we can take a look at it. And I know, I respect the state's attorney's opinion, and that was dated 2010, not 2012. But it's, the judge could decide whether it's a transfer tax. I don't believe it is. And if it is, I know there's probably 6 other villages that have very similar situations.
And trustee, yes, sir.
Let's explain a little bit.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to make clear is that council is correct. It is not a transfer tax, it is a transfer stamp. We charge no fee for that stamp. The only requirement for that stamp is that all the outstanding debts due and payable via that property, that those are paid to the municipality prior to transfer. So it is a no fee stamp.
When it was brought to my attention, I did look at the state statute. I'm not a lawyer, but in what I reviewed on it indicated, it almost looked like it was, how do I say this? It was based on the dollar amount that's tied to it. That's when you have to go back, if you amend it or change it or something like that, to change the dollar amount, making it higher, so you actually have to get it on as a referendum, whether you're home rule or not. Is it because there's no dollar amount associated with it that we don't have to do by referendum? Because the statute seems unclear to me as to that caveat.
And that is exactly where, I'm sure council will speak to this, where home rule comes in, is that it's not written, you know, and we're not following the same guidelines as outlined by the state statute. But council, I'll defer to you.
And I agree. Again, our intent, trustee Farquhar, was that we don't want to have, we the village, the remaining citizens pick up the tab for someone leaving the village. And again, we've probably collected $75,000, otherwise we would have lost that. There are a lot of the villages, in my opinion, a lot more cumbersome, very difficult. We need the zoning certificate, the water certificate, building certificate. All we're attempting to do is to make sure that people coming in have a good property with no lien on it, and secondarily, in my opinion, it's still valid. Now, someone might disagree, but our intent, if it went before a judge, is not to be punitive, it's to make the village whole.
So are we at any loss if we put it on as a referendum as a $0 transfer stamp as you're referring to? Is there any problem there? Okay, well, I'm just trying,
I can look into it. That's a good point.
it doesn't hurt anything, people aren't going to object to it.
But I believe Mr. Joseph would agree. If you go to some other villages, Monee's easy compared to other villages. I mean, when it comes to trying to get something accomplished, Monee's very good, they got very good staff. And again, Chicago, I think it's $9 per thousand, that you do not close a deal unless $9 per thousand is paid, which will come up to $3 or $4 grand. And again, you gotta show the water bill's paid in Chicago, and the zoning certificate. Old Lawrence established the same thing. Other villages around us, exact same thing, where we don't want the remaining people in Monee to be stuck in the water bill, or garbage bill for that matter. Yes, sir.
So if we pass this, are we setting ourselves up for some kind of litigation down the road?
I mean, Trustee Horne, either way, if we pass it, they still could object to that we have a transfer stamp. If we don't pass it, either way, it's not a guarantee. As Mr. Joseph said, he still doesn't agree with all the terms of the ordinance, which I can respect. And but that letter from the state attorney 2 years ago, and that's their opinion, which I obviously, I respect. But I think in order to try to accommodate the realtors, we're not looking for a fight. What we're looking for is something that's reputable for the people in Monee.
Okay.
And realistically, the new resident is given assurances there's no outstanding water bill on their property.
Okay. Thank you. Mayor?
You would have to put this on a referendum, I guarantee, even at zero cost of voting down. People when they leave here, there's probably about between $15,000 to $20,000 a year we were losing before we brought this forward. And now everything is, made whole. So I mean, if someone moves and they have a $2,000 water bill, they're gonna go, what's the next guy do with it? I'm out of here.
I understand that, but I think that if it's an issue that needs to go as a referendum, I think if it clearly does, and I'm not saying that it does, if it does, it's still an issue for voters, not for us. If that were the case, regardless of whether it's good for the people or not, we just gotta provide better information so they make the right decision. But I hear what you're saying, I'm not arguing with the necessity, but the mechanism by which it came into play is what's being scrutinized.
Last referendum we had was with health and safety and electricity. Yeah, meeting, that's still been avoided.
Well, there's two referendums.
So I have one. So I have to.
Roll call.
Hawk,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes.
Horne,
Yes.
Cranzer.
Yes.
6-0, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and if I might just touch on a couple of brief things to wrap up my report. First of all, again, I mentioned it earlier about the public hearings for electrical aggregation. That is 6:30 p.m. on September 17th and at 6:30 p.m. on October 10th. Additionally, the drainage project at the police department is moving along on schedule. They've hit a couple of unexpected items, but nevertheless, everything's been handled and it's moving along well. And just today, my final report is on a meeting I attended, a pre-construction meeting that I attended at the Will County Department of Highways, Egyptian Trail and Monee Manhattan Road construction for signalization at that corner, as well as some reconstruction to Monee Manhattan Road to the east. We'll start sometime before the end of the month. The majority of the construction will be handled this year. The signal arms and wiring will take place probably during the winter months because there's about an 18-week lead time on the signal arms. And then in spring of 2013, they will do the final paving and striping, which will conclude that project. So, and that concludes my report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Brings up the mayor's agenda. The attorney's going to read a proclamation.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the Village of Monee proclamation. Whereas the Village of Monee holds the health and safety of its young residents as the chief concern, And whereas text messaging is a main mode of communication for most American teenagers, with half of all teenagers sending between 21 to 70 texts a day. And whereas 90% of American teenagers expect a reply to a text within 5 minutes. And whereas texting takes one's eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. And whereas in an AT&T survey, 43% of American teenage drivers admitted to texting while driving, even though 90% know it's dangerous. And whereas a recent study showed those who send text messages while driving are 23 times more likely to crash. And whereas a driver that sends a text message while driving not only jeopardizes his or her safety, but also the safety of passengers, pedestrians, and other drivers. Now therefore, the Village of Monee hereby proclaims September 19, 2012 as No Text on Board Pledge Day, and encourages all drivers who take the pledge to never text and drive again. And witness whereof I have set my hand to be affixed this 12th day of September 2012, Mayor Dan Cole.
That's in the form of a motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Stockton?
Yes.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Horne?
Yes.
Franzer?
Yes.
Pop.
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 3, I'm looking for approval, a motion to cancel a September 26, 2012 board meeting. Both clerks will be out of town for training.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray? Horne?
Yes.
Franzer?
Yes.
Pop. Stockton?
Yes.
Motion carries. That brings us to our committee reports. We're going to start out with engineering.
I covered engineer under my report.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Attorney?
No print, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Brings us to the committees. Finance with trustee Stockton.
We'll be having a finance meeting on Monday, September 17th at 5 p.m. Several items we need to discuss and a report.
Thank you, sir. Police and trustee Horne.
The only thing I want to say that the police did a great job patrolling this weekend with the fall fair. There were no arrests. Everything went very smoothly, and that is no doubt because of the presence of our police officers there at the fair.
Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Public health with trustee Gray.
One thing, this evening, we will be doing our Halloween happenings on Saturday, October 27th, which is the Saturday prior to Halloween. I will have further details. Some things are in the work already, but October 27th, we will be doing our Halloween happenings right here under the pavilion. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Public property with trustee Farquhar.
Yes, we have been in the process of working on the pond over on Park Lane, and we've had the first treatment of the lily pads, cattails and such, and there's a second implementation of that will be later installed, or later into the cooling up, and then actually be knocking down the cattails in the wintertime after the ice is melted. There may also be a need for some bank stabilization. We're kind of looking at the park pond as a kind of pilot for identifying some of the other as well. And pertaining to the sound study that had come up at going to the whole property committee meeting, we're waiting to actually have a committee meeting until I know there's a couple of individuals that were looking for more information before we actually have the committee meeting. So we're waiting for everybody to feel comfortable that they've digested all the information that they're looking for.
Okay. Do we have any question? I thought a question came up before about the public property where it should have went, as far as the sound study.
Well, since it has to do with the sound ordinance, you may go in front of the finance. We were having a meeting.
I would assume public property.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, because
That's where you throw last time, so.
Once it
Well,
comes-
my only other comment about this, if I can, is the back of the study, I mean, you were looking for possible, resolutions or ways to fix it. In the back of the study, it lists 3 or 4 different ways they can resolve the problems through that company suggested.
But that's not our responsibility.
Well, I know it's not our responsibility.
But I want to make
mean,
that clear for
if
the
that's the
public.
reason why it's going to committee to try and resolve stuff, there was like 3 or 4 items in the back of the thing, the back of that study.
Well, I think one of the questions, and not to have the meeting here right now necessarily, but one of the questions that came into play was with the elevation of the berm and the fence, the sound doesn't have a tendency to drop very rapidly over that berm. And we're measuring it at 6 feet on the backside of some trees, which would be fine if it was a level ground. The problem is if you're measuring the sound levels, instead of measuring it where it's rolling over or hitting the houses that are behind it, that's where the question came into play as to whether or not it would warrant perhaps an additional test in a different location or elevation either way. And that was the question that came into play. I know that's what some of the residents were looking for, and that would probably appease all questions and concerns if we even had a single test.
Trustee Parker, my concern is that's a very costly test, and we fulfill our responsibility. Our report states that. As a taxpayer's dollar, this would be the 3rd study out there.
I'm just saying
So
that,
maybe we'll talk about that at committee.
I mean, which committee, though? I guess,
Well, council always said we'll talk to you.
fine. Right.
It's just about the dollars and the repetitive of the studies, and is there ever going to be a resolution for some people? I tend to doubt it.
I don't know that there will, but if there's a police department chief traffic at lane period of that on, it's not going to get this stuff off the radar.
That's why we pay professionals to do it, not ourselves.
Well, that's what I wanted to raise on the front of the conversation with these institutions. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Road and Bridge, Trustee Pop.
I'm not making an apology because I always seem to have a report lately, but we do have a lot of construction going on. I just want to mention that they are at our main intersection now, and it's going to be beautiful when it's done. So I see the end in hand, and it looks like they're going to meet their date, which is mid-October. With that, all that being said, understanding that it's a state project with grant money, we incurred a lot of costs too. There were things that came up that we were obligated to do, and it cost the village money. So as long as we have such a nice large crowd here and the cameras rolling, buy your gas here. We're about the same price. I've said this before. It helps our roads and bridges. So purchase your gas in Monee if you have that opportunity. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you, sir. Last but not least, Trustee Pranzer in water.
Well, in Monee construction, we had a water main break on August 30th at Main Street and Elder. And in handling this water main break, we did have some repairs that were necessary. So at this time, I am looking for an approval to spend not to exceed $22,000.41 in the repairs to the water main break that was previously clamped and broke again. So it was something that needed to be done. I don't know if Mr. Blas would like to elaborate more on that. But it is something that we had to take care of, so I'm bringing it to the board at this time.
Just for the knowledge of the public, normally we go before the board before the expenditure, but this was an emergency. There was no time to get a board together. There was a busted pipe under the ground, and they're going to put a new road over it. So we took it upon ourselves, and that's why it's being talked about for the expenditure right now.
I would second that motion.
First motion has to be waived bid prices.
Oh, I apologize. First motion I'm making to waive the bid prices.
So moved.
Sorry.
Roll call.
Reed,
Yes.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Second motion was to spend no more, the number not to exceed more than $22,041.
I would second that.
Roll call, please.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Reed.
I have two other things really quick. One of them being that I know we've been getting some calls regarding leaking on our water tower. We are in the process of taking care of that. and trying to come up with the best ways to fix that situation on the water tower on Chestnut.
And we also do believe that our engineer says we're in no danger of any failure or contamination.
No.
It's a minor leak. We had to put a little bit of a cover on it so it doesn't spray on some electrical wires, but there's no harm, no foul, no scare about it.
And lastly, it was brought to my attention this evening that phone calls are being made regarding our water in Monee, and they state that they're representing Monee. I can assure you, if you get a phone call regarding a survey for the village of Monee, the phone call is not from anybody in the village, nor is it anything that we requested to be done. So you just might want to hang up on them. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I just wanted to follow up on trustee Kranzer asked that we look into after discussion with trustee Kranzer, that we look into the hydrant flushing program a little bit. And just to make the public aware, we will be flushing hydrants every Wednesday through the end of October. We're going to pick up the pace on that a little bit, and I didn't get a chance to get back with trustee Kranzer and let her know what the final outcome was with our meeting with Public Works and the engineers, but basically it is to increase the number of times that we flush. We're going to keep it on a Wednesday, but instead of once a month, it will be every Wednesday again from now through the end of October. Thank you.
That's it, sir. Moves of decay, unfinished business. I'm sorry?
Economic development?
Oh, I jumped right over myself. No report. Now it's unfinished business. Okay, move on. Sir? Okay. Approval request for Equity Lifestyle Properties, Inc. Is that all right? To revise requirements table from the August 8th, 2012 village board meeting.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. I'm Judy Ziner. I'm the regional manager representing Equity Lifestyle Properties and Gulf Vista Estates in Monee. Back on August 8th, we presented some information to all of you regarding our request to revise the ordinance allowing one resident to be the age of 45, reducing the age from 55 to 45 for one resident, to make us more in compliance with federal fair housing laws, as well as to increase the marketability of the homes within our community. I trust that you've had time to go through the materials that you were given. I'm here to answer any other questions that you might have. I would also like to share with you some of the efforts that we've undertaken since then to reach out to more of the residents within our community. We did more explanation via the newsletter, which goes to all of the residents. We did have additional requests for input via a survey, and asked for residents to express their concerns, if any, or if they had any questions. We have had contact with a lot of the vendors, retailers in the community who've been very supportive of this move. And as Trustee Farquhar mentioned earlier this evening, anything we can do to help people move into the community is good. I was glad to hear him say that. As a result of our survey, and again, this was something that was just voluntary, it was in the newsletter that was presented to everybody, we tabulated the responses, and the responses were, we gave people the option of, are you in favor of, do you oppose, or do you have no opinion? The results came back 84% in favor of, 15% opposed to, and 1% that had no opinion. I will also mention that since the time, we've been discussing this for a year with our homeowners via the board and the board of directors, so this is not something that has come up, you know, without a lot of discussion, without a lot of thought and notice and input. In the time since we've had our last meeting on August 8th, I have not received a single email or phone call or inquiry opposed to this. In the conversations I've had with our homeowners board of directors, they have relayed conversations that they've held with residents, and once they explain what exactly we were planning to do or proposing to do, people that have formerly been opposed have said, oh, okay, I understand now, you know, that's fine. So I'm here to answer questions by the trustees or mayor, if you have any further questions.
Yes, I do. I'll
Okay.
start out and make it elaborate on what might be clear or not. The last time you were before us, I requested you get some information to us so we can have time to look at it. I don't think anybody has gotten any information. Have we?
Actually, well, I gave you all the information the night of the meeting, and I believe that trustee Farquhar got a copy of the lease. He came to the office and got a copy of the lease to own. This is not a discussion about the lease to own.
At the last board meeting, you gave us a small packet, 15 minutes before the board. Yes, on a digest. So I requested some information ahead of time on what your intent was tonight. You brought forward information that 85% of the people want to go along with it. Well, how many people did you survey? I've seen no surveys. I have nothing to look at but what you're telling me. That ain't the way I operate as a mayor. I can't operate like that. So I'm just gonna turn it over to the trustees and let them ask you some questions if you need to. But it's very hard to sit here and make a decision for what he said, she said, can't deal with hard facts. That's why I requested you to survey everybody in your community, if possible.
Which we did.
Everybody?
No.
Yes.
No, you did.
The survey is in the newsletter that goes to every single resident.
No.
Does not.
You have to pick it up.
Pick them up.
Well, that's
This is
okay.
your
Ladies and
September
gentlemen, let me
newsletter.
handle it.
No.
Hold on one second. Obviously, what you said is incorrect. You heard it, you don't hear it. Okay? My job sitting here is the best interest and judgment for the people in this community. That community also, because they are part of our family. So I'm gonna let the trustees talk to you a little bit. I think we already heard what a vast amount of the community just said to you. So I'm turning it over to trustees. Senior trustee Stockton, you can run with it.
Well, I got the answer to my first question by the applause of the audience. I was gonna ask exactly how many people returned the questionnaire that you got 87% of the people to say that they were in favor of it. So I'll let you answer that. How many people returned?
We had 128 responses. There were 19 opposed, and I'm sure all 19 are here today.
Well, I think there's more than 19. But
I don't
anyway.
think so. I'd request a show of hands.
Okay, second question.
And it's the same ones that have been vocal at the meeting on the 8th.
Well, it's amazing because after the meeting on the 8th, we had my phone lit up, my cell phone lit up, and my house phone lit up about everybody saying, don't vote for it, don't vote for it, don't vote for it.
And did they say why?
They said it's not good.
Why?
Because we moved into a retirement community. We want to retire. We don't want kids running around there.
There are no children. People are not understanding what we are asking. There are no children allowed. There will be no children allowed. One of the owners has to be 55 or above. A second owner could be as young as 45. We don't see that happening often, but we had a couple that came in where the husband was 55, the wife was 53. And they're not able to own in the community, and they wanted to. And that's the issue here. People are ill-informed, and it's not on our behalf. You deal with these things that come up in your meetings where you have constituency that is not understanding or ill-informed on issues. When you are elected during an election or there's a vote, you're not the mayor with 100% of the vote. You're a mayor with the winning amount of the vote.
I understand.
And,
Just looking for true base facts.
okay, well,
For example, Trustee Stockton just asked you, the 85% of the people that you surveyed was 85% of 118 people. How many people
128.
Out of how many?
Homes.
600?
No, there are occupied homes, 300, yes, because it was one per house, the votes were per household.
Only one.
118 is nowhere near 85%.
Jay, how many homes? 379. So 128 out of 379.
I tell you it's about 30%, not 85.
30% of the homes voted. Of those that voted, 84% voted in favor. Of those that voted, 84%. What is voter turnout in Monee? I don't
A
know.
little survey,
But
excuse me. How many people in this room voted for it? Let the record show under 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
But
7.
that's not the people that are here. That is completely irrelevant.
That's a democracy. Democracy is for the people to make the decisions. I'm going by what I just heard. I'm going by what I just seen. I can't make it any clearer on my behalf. I don't vote. Trustees vote.
Do these people get that sent to their house, or do they have to go to their mailboxes to pick it up, and that's how they, how is the newsletter distributed to your residents?
It isn't.
No. It's,
So if you don't get out of the house or you're shut in, you don't know what's going on.
Right.
you pay your rent.
Right.
Everybody pays rent every month, and they get their newsletter, they give them a newsletter.
Wasn't there at the first either.
The newsletter is normally ready on the first of the month, regardless of whether I pro or con on this.
Yes.
This month, it wasn't ready until the 5th of the month, and on the newsletter, it says, has to be returned by September 11th. And if you don't go to, people that went and paid their rent on the 1st didn't get their newsletter, and many of them didn't get back to pick it up.
I would like to remind people that it was Labor Day holiday on the 3rd,
So,
and it was the weekend before, that is why the newsletter was delayed. It was,
Just for clarification, you said there's 379 homes, and it was one vote per home.
yes.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. So unless they picked it up, they might not have even received this. Okay, next. Do you know, is there currently anybody living in Gulf Vista under the age of 55 as of right now?
There is not.
Okay. So I just would like to, excuse me, I'll make my point. I just would like to let the record show that currently, with my information, there's at least 6 registered.
Caregivers, by law, we are required to allow caregivers.
And they're registered.
They are registered in the
Their
office.
license, everything is registered.
Everything is registered in our office. They are legal caregivers. They are subjected to the same background checks. And we, as a company, were sued in another municipality for not allowing them. I'm saying, you're making allegations and accusations that are not
I
correct.
asked you questions. I asked you, is there anybody currently living there? You said no. Now, according to my driver's license, I live at a certain address. According to these people's driver's license, they live at a certain address. Their address is registered to Gulf Vista. Now, what is the difference between their address being registered to Gulf Vista as a resident there or a caregiver?
Well,
Let me just, if I can say it.
Please, be my guest.
If you're a caregiver, but, you know, if somebody's, you know, be taking care of their elderly parents or
Right.
whatever situation they be, that doesn't mean that they give up their own residence. That means that they're there to help take care of them. Now, if somebody's down and out and they're out of work, you know, we're sympathetic to that, but the reality is there's an ordinance that stipulates the way things are to be operated. by you making an exception without going back and getting approval from the village, which is who implemented the ordinance in the first place, that allowed for our police establishment in there, we're happy about it being there, and the reason why it was approved is because of certain guidelines. You've taken upon yourself, if I understand correctly, to make your own rules without any authorization from the ones who actually implemented the ordinance in the first place. Aside from all of that, I mean, that's but specifically, I don't know if it was me or.
But that is incorrect. Before you move on to another topic, and this has been, and you know, I just sat here now through a couple of board meetings. Approve, 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 yes, 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 I, everything, you know, everything's fine. Then I really felt that I was attacked at the last meeting, and I'm feeling I'm being attacked again. It was a gotcha. It wasn't a legitimate question. It was a gotcha. I looked up at the, you know, you have driver's license. No, the question was, do we allow residents under the age of 55? No, we do not allow residents under the age of 55. We, in accordance with federal law, allow caregivers. They have to go through a separate procedure and policy and approval. So I'm just asking that.
Those caregivers?
Yes, and they're 24-hour caregivers.
Okay, if they're legitimately caregivers, and that doesn't mean that they're moving there permanently. These people have moved their voter records, they have moved their vehicle registration, they have taken up permanent residence in Gulf Vista. Now, hold on a second. And some of these folks, and listen, I'm not attacking individuals for making the decisions that they're making, but there's an ordinance, those are laws. You can't just try to arbitrarily change the rules once you get caught with something. Why? The fact is, if you have people there that are violating the ordinance and you're condoning it without getting any approval from the village, and if I understand correctly, because of the way this ordinance was implemented, Larry, help me out on this, if you're gonna try to change any of this, it's gonna have to be presented to all the neighboring property owners with a public hearing with proper notification. We respect and value the input of the residents of Gulf Vista, perhaps more than you do, in the sense that, I'm just saying it with a little, yeah, okay, take offense to it if you want to. We value their input. You didn't even so much as give them a fair opportunity to respond to your survey, which I could fill out 5 or 6 of those survey answers and send them for somebody else. There's no validation of the legitimacy of that. The one thing that the mayor and I both specifically asked for a month ago was a list of all residents, all occupants of those homes. That is one thing we specifically asked for besides the lease. Yes, I went over and got the lease from Jay, thank you. But we never got a list of all the residents with all the information you track on so we could validate. I identified 6 people right here. There's probably more, and you're saying there was none until we bring it to your attention.
No. Again, this is not about the lease to own. This is about the ordinance and the age. This is not about lease to own. We're not prepared to talk about lease to own right now. You said you came to get, you got the lease.
I asked for a copy of the lease of the attorney.
And the name and the names. You said you requested the names. This isn't about that.
I was looking for the lease because our ordinance does not allow for rental. And I forget who the gentleman was that came in a month ago, but he hit the nail on the head when he said because of the way ELS is managing Gulf Vista currently with the way you're renting or lease to own or whatever it is that you're doing, it is actually making it more difficult for the other people that actually still own their homes in there to actually sell those. Now, you're actually doing the very thing that you're actually renting property which you prohibit from the residents in there. If somebody gets married, there's 2 tenants in there and they get married and move into one, they can't lease or they can't rent, they can't do any of those things that you're doing. They're not allowed to do that by your contract with them, but yet you're doing it. And that, you're creating an uneven playing field, which is devaluing their properties.
I can argue the exact opposite. We're creating value. It's a method of financing. Again, I repeat, we're not here to discuss that particular issue this evening. This evening's discussion, what I'm prepared to address and answer questions on is the ordinance for the age.
I have one more thing if I may. Yes. And that is because of all the interest, and I know Mr. Stock indicated he got a number of phone calls. I had a lot of people contacting me as well. 20 years ago, approximately when it was that this was put into play, there was a lot of different things available as far as for how people identify places they want to move to. In today's technology, people use things like search engines to identify places they want to live. And when you do a search for senior living or golf course communities, all that kind of stuff, all this doesn't show up. You have to do a search for Golf Vista, and then it takes you out to ELS, which wants to try to sell you to Florida and everywhere else that you guys have. It's not.
That's absolutely untrue. We are on 14 websites. 14 websites.
You don't even have meta tag data information in your websites that'll actually drive people to Monee. So that's, your core marketing should not be taken out on the residents of Monee. You have a pearl here, a great opportunity to highlight this as a senior living community. Unfortunately, you're looking at it as a ball and chain around your ankle because you want to treat it like every other community that doesn't have age requirements. Treat it as what it is. It's a pearl. It's a great opportunity for people to find a senior living community. It's not being promoted as that. You want to shake that. You want to lower the age. There's more seniors today than there were 20 years ago.
And if you've read any of the articles in literature, the seniors don't have the financing or the financial wherewithal that they had before. They don't have their pensions. They don't have the equity in their homes. They're hurting. Seniors are hurting. We as a company just purchased 7 homes that we're bringing into the community, and we are bulk purchasing from Harris Bank another 4 homes. That's 11 homes. We've invested tremendous amount of money into that community. We actively sell both on newspaper ads, and we are on 14 websites. I looked at our website just today with Jay. I looked at our websites. We're on there. We are running.
You're not searchable. So the people that are trying to help their families move in, they're not finding out about you. They're just not. Right? So
I just have one comment. Before you move those units in there, better come see us.
We have always gotten the appropriate permits that we've needed to get into the community.
7, 8 at a time?
No, we're bringing, there are 7 homes which we don't have an exact time frame
You know
on.
what that does to the people that want to sell their homes that can't? They're stuck, you have them. That's the point this trustee's trying to say. And we're never attempting to attack you. Now, that's maybe the way you feel. That's a feeling.
I invite you to watch the tape of the last meeting
These are
and this
facts.
one.
We ask questions because we're in a position to need to know because they are the legislators, not you, not the Tribune, whoever. They make the laws here. They make them for these people. They really don't care about your bottom line, as long as people are taken care of. That's our job. Let's wrap this up because we're getting way off the track. Do you have a specific question? Let's not dive into something
I
else.
make a motion that we deny the request to lower the age from 55 to 45. That's our motion.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Cranzer? Yes. Pop?
Present.
Stockton?
Yes.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Horne?
Yes.
The motion to deny has been carried.
Fine. Trustee Horne, who's setting himself up for
You set yourself up for litigation. She's threatening you.
No, not at all. I'm saying that I just don't feel that I've been given the consideration that any of the other requests for the last several meetings that I sat here and listened to have. I'm surprised.
Ma'am, I just gotta ask you why you singled myself out for
Just
litigation.
because that was a quote you made earlier about another issue. There was just something you said earlier about another issue.
Ma'am, if I may, I think we're going down the wrong road.
I know, and I think, and if I could, I apologize, I'm a little, obviously, frustrated. I'm very frustrated, and I'm sure that our our legal counsel would like to talk with you about this and, you know, any other issues that the village
I
has.
don't take it personal, neither should you. It was a business decision. It is not a vendetta against your company or yourself or Mr. Kine. You always present yourself very professionally. But we don't look at whether it's litigation, we look at what's the best interest of the village. And you might disagree, which I respect, but that's our position.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, that brings us to item L.
I was reminded recently of the fact that I had indicated a desire, is this better, sir? To make sure that our trustee packets were available either online or at the front window. And I know that we've taken steps towards making the agendas more available and such. I believe that it was sent to committee, which would have been Finance and Ordinance Committee. A couple of times I had requested it be put on the agenda, it did not make it. I would like to know if we could at least put that up for vote, that the packets can be made available online, with the exception of those items that are of bid nature or executive session, where they would be. So I would just really like to put it up for a vote. I know we've talked about it. It hasn't gone through committee because it hasn't been addressed there. I'd just like to put it up for a vote. Can we make the packets available where they're scanned in as a PDF and they're put online?
So we don't have to go to committee with that, do we? Okay, under new business, our last new business should be old business. You have a request from purchase orders to build spec.
Good evening. At the last meeting, some of the trustees requested some more detail on the house.
Your name and your address first.
Seamus Planning, I'm the owner of Acacia Builders. An Eagle Fair Estates in Monee. As you know, at the last meeting, I wanted to start building some houses there again, but not as big as the house I was building there, you know. We discussed like 2,000, 2,200 square foot houses instead of the bigger ones. And as we know, the ordinance calls for 1,800 square foot houses. So I'm not, the houses I want to build are not smaller than the ordinance already that we have there. I got a layout and a picture of the house if you guys want to see it.
You can have them out. I do believe the trustees went and looked at your house that you told us about. I believe they did, but you can pass them out. Yes, sir.
We'll start discussion.
Pass them out. We'll start discussion. I'd like you guys to go to discussion.
Yes, all right, first of all, wish I wouldn't have forgot this was later. Once again, I request, I think we were at the Special Finance Committee meeting on August, it was like 3 weeks ago. I requested the stuff for this meeting. We gave you plenty of time to let you know when the meeting was here, and what it is, it's 20 to 8, 2 minutes before you got called in to get this. Once again, I've also had residents that live out there You stated that you talked to many people out there and that that no one had a problem. And we got a certified letter here that people do have a problem.
Yes.
There's always one thing you can guarantee in the village meeting. People are upset and don't want nothing, they show up. Otherwise, they don't work during the day.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, so anyway, we've got a full letter here saying that there's people against it, and once again, I'm not, as I stated to her, the lady from Bell Vista at our last board meeting we had, where she just come in 2 minutes till to show us a packet. I'm not too thrilled upon that either. This has been tabled, I believe, twice so far. It's been brought to committee, so.
Mr. Stockton,
If anybody else has any other comments to say, otherwise I'm ready to call vote.
My last meeting, you guys told me to bring it in, bring the stuff into the next meeting.
No, I told you, yeah, you know what?
Trustee Stockton, first of all, let's give him his due process,
Okay.
what he wants to say, and then I will inform you all those people came here and why, because we did survey the people that you said, you talked to them, they didn't have a problem.
I've talked to, I didn't say I talked to everybody, I talked to some people.
But I have to talk to everybody.
I understand.
So if you want to give us a little more information, so the people sitting in here can hear it for themselves, or I think they're ready to bid.
Yeah, well, as I said again, I want to start building back there. We know the situation, we got to get everything fixed. I talked with Mr. Wallace, I think we talked to you guys at the last meeting. The only way I think is going to come about is taking the money from each house we build to get to the subdivision finished. Again, the economy changes and people bought big houses, now people can't afford big houses. It's not like I'm looking for a reduction in the square footage of the houses. Like when the houses were built, they were built 27, 28, 3,000 square feet. They were within the ordinance, but the ones I'm building now are still within the ordinance. I'm not asking for you to reduce the ordinance. The covenants in that subdivision is the house has to be 1,800 square feet. Now, when the people bought those houses, if they're aware of that, I don't know. If they came to the village and asked them, is there a better ordinance, is there some minimum square footage, maximum square footage in the subdivision? I don't know if people did that.
Why did he do that?
The reason why we are here is because you're asking us to modify an ordinance on those spec homes. That's not aimed against you. It's aimed against all builders in our communities because we were left holding the bag. I do believe, and I'll be looking into it, I do believe golf distance homes on wheels they bring in there are spec homes. They're not ordered, but somebody's sitting here with a check. Sir, if you got something you can build, my opinion, come see it, we'll do it for you, as long as you stay within the R1, which I understand. But I said before, some of these people sitting in this room took the opportunity to buy a beautiful large home, and I understand how the ordinance works, and I think you do also. But, and we can't really stop you as far as the R1 ordinance, but we surely stop you as far as the spec homes. A lot of these folks in here put all their money into what they have. The bubble popping got them too. They're struggling to keep them like that.
Right, correct.
There will be a day that we'll pull out of this mess that this country's in, I understand that. I don't think they want to lose what they've got in it right now because then you know this to be true. If you build a lesser value home, and you have the option to do that as long as you stay within the ordinance, you're stealing from the other people to create primo money.
Yes.
You're ready, Mr. Mayor, because I'm building within the ordinance, within the square footage.
I mentioned that
If they choose to buy and build a bigger home, so be it. You know, nobody ever says
I guess to
this.
be frank with you, what I'm trying to say is, the idea of building a spec home is really the only way we could try to save them from what I know they think is gonna happen.
That's right.
And that's our job, once again, you heard in the last meeting, these are the people in our family, in this community. If you could sell and build out, we never see you again. These people that pay taxes on that, and we, the village, if we pay the freight to keep your development up. To this day, we cash in on all the time and hours that we've taken and paid for from people that have no reason to.
That's why I wanted to build a house again, so we can get the money back to the village. No. That's the only way we can get it back.
I don't, like I said, I hear you say many times up here.
But it's easy to say have a buyer to build another house like, but a lot of those people might not have those houses, if it wasn't spec houses there, like, you know.
I understand, but these people are the ones I'm thinking about, not the future person.
Thank you.
And this wasn't our job, these things. And we don't take it personal against you, we know you're a businessman, and that's how you roll, as they say, or most of us are gonna live and die here in this country.
Correct.
Every developer, when he's done with subdivision, needs to move to another one. I appreciate the village, all you guys are doing, but we still got to build houses.
I understand 100%, sir. I'm trying to be towards your, you have quite an issue in front of you. Personally,
There's quite a bit empty homes in there.
well, because they're all full, I think that there's some empty ones because people got moved out, but spec homes just mean build them out.
No, I know, what I'm saying is, he's actually competing with the homes that are vacant and need to be up.
I think maybe 3 homes vacant.
Oh, it's more than that.
They're getting rented from the because they're vacant.
Yeah, but we, like,
Then who do it? That's not the argument. I'm trying to let the people know where we stand and why we stand where we stand. I'd like to let this gentleman know, the same person as you, sir. Even with my brother at phobia. It's not personal. I'm doing the best I can, these trustees do the best they can to keep our community together. I think everybody's in here because they're afraid of something. They're not in because they want to sit home and watch TV. I bet you everybody in this room right now, 90% of them live in it. And I think they would rather see us cut grass and keep it clean until the market comes back.
I cut my own grass, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, don't say that now. Don't say that. No, you haven't, and you know that.
A lot of times,
A lot of times, okay. You say something
like, you're kind of really contradicting yourself, Mr. Mayor, because you're telling me if I come in with a contract tomorrow morning for a house, 1,900 square feet, you can't stop me from building it.
Well, technically I can't. How can I?
Okay.
That's what we asked you before. We asked you, do you have any paid customers? You said, no. I gotta build a model home to sell it.
Exactly, yeah. Like, you're not going to be able to get built orders unless you model.
You fall within the orders which is in play. That's all we can do. We're not gonna change the orders because of you.
Well, you did change the order, because
No, sir,
I
you did not.
could build a model, when I did the
That
subdivision, I was
orders
able to
was
build a
put in
model.
play 4 or 5 years ago. You know how I know that? I put it together.
Yeah, but I never knew, you never notified me about
Yes,
it.
you do it.
No, I didn't know nothing about the orders, so I came to Mr. Wallace about building it.
I'm not gonna tangle with you about it, but we've had words about it. Maybe you forget better than I, just like the sidewalk, don't go there.
Only on the south side of Margaret Street, I've checked that out, so.
It is. You wanna read that here? Here, since you're so hurried.
Can I make a comment?
Give me a second. Page 5. Okay, in case I might be cheating, somebody else read it.
Developer agrees that at their sole expense to make any and all necessary improvements to both sides of Margaret Street in order to comply with the terms of the village code. These improvements include, but are not limited to, the standard width of the road, installation of curbs, gutter, storm sewers, sidewalks, and streetlights.
Was there sidewalks in there?
No.
No?
Nope.
Sidewalks and streetlights.
There was sidewalks in there. And you signed this. What am I go by?
Liar.
Thanks for knocking in my house too.
I'm sorry, the question is?
Stockton?
Yes.
Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray? Horne? Franzer?
Yes.
I'm kind of scared to come up here right now. My name is David Holston, 5326 West Main Street. I'm here on behalf of Monee Creamery Foundation. I want to thank the trustees and the mayors for your assistance over the last year. About a year ago, we came to you and asked you for permission to see what we could do to try to revive a building that was one of the original buildings of Monee. Over the last year, we've had several fundraisers. More importantly, we've done a lot toward trying to raise public information and public knowledge about what was going on. The Creamery Foundation is still active. We were just at the Fall Fair along with the clown. I understand there was more than one there, but that's another issue. But I'm happy to announce that we have a company that's interested in putting the roof on for us and another company that's interested in providing the roof materials. We'll be working with Mr. Wallace to make sure we do that within code. And then we'd like to be working with the village in terms of what committee you'd like us to work with in terms of start looking at what we want to be doing with that building for the future. We've had a number of contractors and historical people in the building. There was a cleanup this spring, by the way. It's a very clean building now. And everybody that's been in the building tells us what a good building it is, what good condition it's in. The contractor who's going to do the roofing was in there yesterday. He couldn't believe what the condition of it was. It's in very good shape, he said. And so we want to thank again the village and Mr. Mayor, you for your cooperation and your assistance in helping the foundation. We'll be announcing our next bit of news here shortly.
Me, I think he's talking up tonight, sorry. My name is Julie Pope. My address is 26045 South County Fair Drive. I live in Eagles Fair, where he was talking about putting up those spec homes. And just as a parent myself, I understand the seniors want their own community, and not everyone is trying to take over their community, and I respect that. My concern is about the spec homes. Like you said, people invested their money, they're fighting to keep their homes. Over the past weekend, when the village had their garage sale throughout the neighborhoods, I noticed when I went to the new construction area over by the elementary school, and I noticed the one behind Eagle Fair, further towards the highway in like Main Street area, they both have their own park, and we don't. And instead of putting up spec homes, would you or the village and the trustee members consider us getting our own park in our own area? Because in order to take my son to the park, I either have to walk down this main street here to go to the park here by the football field. I have to walk over across that four-way intersection where the church is and where the pizza place is to go to their park. We pay taxes just like they do. And I think we should have our own park for our children in our own neighborhood just like they do. And instead of getting those spec homes, can we please talk about a way to get our own park in our own home too, in our own area? And I wasn't sure where this fell on the agenda because when I got here there were none left. And so is that something that we can do instead of putting up the spec homes?
Let me give you some information. We already have property over there that's been given to the village for a park.
Okay.
The property is, I'm sorry, somebody unplugged my big mouth.
Yeah.
Because I've been living here since '09. Well, I bought the property in '07, but I've been really living here and in my home on a regular basis since '09. And the properties have sat there vacant with nothing. And we pay taxes just like everyone else. And instead of giving up my neighborhood to some spec homes, I'd rather have them put something there worthwhile that won't ruin the neighborhood.
And I agree with you.
Okay.
Point for knowledge. We have property for a park. We don't have money for a park, and here's why. It's gonna cost us almost $800,000 to bring your roads and everything up to standard.
To have a park allowed?
Pardon me?
for a pout to be allowed?
No. That's what it's gonna cost the municipality, and we gotta push that off on other taxpayers because builders left it the way it is.
Okay,
And not that we're not concerned with your issue, we sure are. It's a couple $100,000 just to do one road from Will Center to Ruby Street.
wow.
Just one. I wish I could have a park everywhere. I wish I had the money to do that. I wish I had the money to finish your roads. If these builders would have had the proper bondings in place,
Okay.
security bonds and whatnot, we could have gone after that. And nothing against that particular bond. That guy over here, he didn't have no bond. All right? So we're trying to figure out how to make magic so you're not driving on gravel and mud,
Okay,
you know? As soon as we can, you'll have your park. We're not sitting, but it's so hard, you know, we got roads talk everywhere throughout town, and it's hard to take the taxpayers' money from other, because we're all taxpayers. But we're gonna have to pay his bill. The rest of the village is gonna have to pay his bill.
okay.
You know what I'm talking about? And it's, we don't run away from our responsibility. If somebody gives us a park grant, we'll get you a park, and we'll look for them. You know, we think every subdivision should have a park. And some of our parks are substandard right now, we're trying to bring up the standards. But I want you to understand the debt that's laid out there on the whole community. $800,000, it's just a little short of $1 million.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ryerson, and I'm from 26030 South County Fair Drive from the Eagle Fair subdivision as well. And I only have one thing to say, and that's I appreciate you sending me the letter to let me know what was going on, because I had no clue what was going on. I've lived in Monee for 3 years. I feel like the town works great. You know, you give us a lot of tickets and we pay a lot of taxes, but they don't give us for the first time in 3 years, I've really felt a sense of community. I like, you know, what's happening here. This won't be the last one I'll be at, but again, thanks.
We got your back.
That's fine, thank you. Smirnoff Reddy, I live at 26039 County Fair. Just want to make a quick point. I refinanced, I'm right on the corner with the white picket fence, or white fence. I refinanced, my house is 3,133 square feet. My appraisal came in at $200,000. That's $64 a square foot. So let me just give you some quick numbers. Either the builder is plain out deceitful in his numbers, but 2,200 square feet would be $140,000 for their new house. If you're building a house that's 1,650 square feet, that'll be $105,000. Now, no one's going to pay cash, really, in this environment, so you have to go get a loan and an appraisal. So that's what you're looking at for a new house if they're going to go ahead and build houses that way. Two other quick points. Can we force that builder to make good on the contract he signed to go ahead and fix the roads and the sidewalks and everything before he can build anything?
Council? Sir, if I may, we did pass an ordinance, I'm not sure he's aware of it, but for every lot he's gonna sell, he's gotta put $12,000 deposit with the village to improve the streets and roads in that one subdivision. He didn't sign personally, it's a corporation. And if you notice, the corporation is not the same people anymore. But we did pass an ordinance. And so the board, and to the board's credit, we looked at what they call a special service area, that would affect all the residents in that area. The board didn't think that was fair. So what we did, for every lot he sells, there's a lien against it for $15,000. They'll find out once they sell it. So we are looking at that.
That's how we're trying to generate some money to do the repair work. And for your knowledge, that gentleman has 33 lots in there.
Okay, great.
He didn't complain about the transfer stamp either.
No.
No, he did not. Great, thank you. And thank you for that letter again.
You're welcome, sir.
Oh, I see tremendous smiling faces. I'm Connie Brody, 25640 Daffodil. You may remember me from the June meeting. I was the proud owner of the healthy pear tree that the village appointed tree inspector condemned to death, and I came home to a 12-inch diameter tree stump. So my curb appeal went from here to the ghetto, and I'm here to find out a timeline on when that error is going to be rectified. I've been waiting for the public property committee. I think that's who has to meet. I haven't seen that happen. That's why I'm here.
Okay. How do I address this issue?
Hopefully you're gonna tell me when it's gonna
You're
be
not alone.
fixed.
There's a
Oh, I
lot
know
of-
that. There's a lot of upset
People
people.
have stumps over there right now. Even trustee Farquhar is in that community, trustee Scott is in that community, and yours is not the only community. Once again, you get down to cost. One or two trees, you could easily come up with some money for that. 100? And that's not done. The stumps have to come out.
Well, that's one of the reason I'm here, because I can't erase this ghetto look with this stump there. And if I tend to the landscaping around it, and they come in and jerk out this tree stump, all my money is going out with that tree stump again. I've already paid to landscape out there once, and I really don't think my pockets are deep enough to do it again and have it destroyed again.
Well, first of all,
And see, I'm being
I
really
don't want-
nice.
I don't want to become your enemy.
No, I'm being very nice tonight.
I'm going to be a pet peeve, I gotta say. Just because the tree's cut down, it's not a ghetto lot.
No, it does look like that because I can't fix the
I
landscaping.
understand it, but it's because you're used to this thing.
It's because I care about my property.
I understand. I understand. We care about it too.
And I like to make the community look good. People want to live on our street, or they did. Help me out here. I'm just wanting to know a timeline. Is it going to be this year, next year, when I'm 93 and no longer care? You know, I'd really hate to think that.
Not when you're 93.
Oh, that was just so brightening.
I think Mr. Wallace has had some conversations with people.
Yes, what I've done is, in conversation with trustee Farquhar on public property, we have, as you may know, we stopped the cutting down of any trees
Oh, yeah.
at this point. We've taken, collected all the addresses where the trees have been cut down, and our plan in moving forward is to identify the proper trees that should be in our ordinance so that we don't make this same mistake again, and amend the ordinance to reflect that. Number two would be to remove the stumps that currently exist without cutting any additional trees. And the third and final step of that process is to develop a program for replacement of those trees. That third and final step will probably take the longest amount of time due to the financial burden that is there. But we are working on that, and we expect those stumps to be removed before snow flies this year. That is on the schedule to be done, so that we can get those back, get the parkways back to normal without the trees, and then we will move forward in finding the methodology. There may be some grants that come around. There aren't any right at this particular moment, but certainly we will be in tune with that, and again, to address the ordinance so that we have the proper trees that should be located within parkways there. That's where we stand to date.
Okay, well, at least the stump's going to be gone
Yes,
before, hopefully, winter. So that's reassuring. Maybe next spring we can start to do something. I just want to note that it was rather ironic to stand back there and hear the board being kind of in an uproar that the Gulf Vista people weren't given the chance to voice their opinion on something, and nobody in Country Meadows was given that opportunity. So just take it for note. In the future, please communicate with us, because that's one of the things that really, excuse my French, piss people off. Okay? Thank you.
Just so you know, I have been over there, and as you know, I went over and met with you and everything, and I talked to your neighbor as well. She came in and she's keeping us in check as well.
Heidi, yes.
And so we are listening, and we are working on that, as Administrator Wallace indicated. Do understand, it's not an easy remedy, and listening to you and communicating with you is something I know we're all working on. As you can see, it's an evolution of going to that extra mile, communicating with Eagle Fair. We're going to be doing more to communicate. We had a situation with one of the ponds pertaining to public property. We sent a notification out to everybody on the adjacent property there. We're working on it. So our apologies, obviously, for the inefficiencies that we've experienced in the past. But we are working on better communication with the board. So,
Okay, and just so you know, I do have an ash tree, big ash tree on my property. And had I had an ash tree at the curb and been notified of the program, I would have done what I did for the ash tree in front of my house. I paid to have it inspected, even though it's healthy, no sign of disease, I paid to have it treated. I would have done the same thing, and a lot of my neighbors would have done the same thing if they'd been given the option. So you wouldn't have had to cut them down because we would have borne the expense of treating them. You can treat them. And I am going to treat my tree and keep him healthy, the one I have, and I would have done the same thing had it been an ash tree at the curb.
I just don't know at this moment there is a cure for a sick ash tree.
Well, according to the arborist,
Well, we had one right in here, he says, no, we gave it your
he said your tree's healthy, you can treat it to prevent it from getting sick, and if they do get sick, there are treatments, you don't have to cut them down.
Well, if you get that information from me,
You talked to the people at Stumps Incorporated, that's who I spoke with, and they were very nice and very knowledgeable. Thank you.
you make me smile.
I have good news. Bring the mic to my son and dance. First, my name's Lori McPhillips, and I live at 13410 Wood Duck Drive, all the way out in Plainfield, Illinois. And I'm actually on the Will County Board and the Will County Forest Preserve District. And I'm a realtor, and first of all, I want to thank you guys for passing that ordinance as amended to take out the original deed. Being a realtor, going out to a dozen different municipalities, this is consistent, having the copies. Naperville, Bolingbrook, Louisville, all of them require copies, and it just streamlines everything. And in this market, we need anything that can streamline the process. And number two, as the treasurer of the Forest Preserve, I wanted to invite everybody out to the grand reopening of the Goodnow Grove Forest Preserve this weekend for Fall Fest on Saturday from 11 to 5. And it's free, and there's going to be food, there's going to be entertainment, there's going to be an antique tractor show, there's going to be things for the children to do, and free pumpkins for the first couple hundred children as well. And also, this is a very engaged crowd, and I appreciate that, and would love to see everybody out Saturday at Shoop's. We're having a candidate forum as well, and that's going to be at 8 o'clock at Shoop's.
I'm not done with you, your timing.
Oh, no. Look what time it was.
You told me you're on the Will County Board with the forestry?
I'm on the Forest Preserve District Board. The county board is also Forest Preserve members.
We're almost home now.
Uh-oh. With that tree issue.
Is there a cure that you could put on a tree or treat a tree to save it?
I'm not an arborist, but I could get that information for you.
I'll bet you could. I'd love to see that.
I will
I would trust
definitely.
the Will County Board.
Yeah, I would do that. I'll definitely, because we have people on staff I know, and we have consultants as well. I had heard through other municipalities, and I actually have a rental property I have one, that it's very difficult to treat it permanently, but I'll get you that information for you. I got a homework now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Coretta C. 4979 Hawk Lane. First of all, like the other lady said, thank you for the letter. I really appreciate it. I had heard it actually from a neighbor, and then when I got your letter, that just confirmed it, so I really appreciate you reaching out to the residents of that community. In doing so, moving forward, like you said, since they haven't finished the roads and the sidewalks, it is difficult for children to play and to keep continuity, or even older teenagers not to get a ticket, say for jaywalking, because there's no sidewalk to complete for them to walk. And I knew that was a problem in speaking to the chief one time, the police, and another officer, and Officer Lazzaroni as well, just to be mindful of that. So maybe moving forward, as the residents that are currently there, who are currently paying their taxes, we can have some type of communication when it comes up for agenda or something. If you're in the makings, or some of the trustees can be also doing the research as far as finding out how we can work together. I'm not saying do it by yourself. I'm saying how we can come together to get those streets and sidewalks done in the park, like the other resident has spoke about. And I'm pretty sure eventually, like all the residents of Monee would like, it's probably a super Walmart. That'd be great.
CC, you're doing.
Sidewalks aren't in, is when developers come, they'll roll over with the cement trucks and break them. They put them in after they go.
Now, I don't pay for my tires.
I'm paying for mine.
She's paying for hers.
Uh-oh.
I drive a company for her.
I'm paying for mine. Tasha Robinson, 5010 West Hawk Lane. I have a problem with the street on Eagle. You've paved it, you put, call yourself fixing it, I guess. And we still have that divot as soon as you come off of Hawk and turn onto Eagle. Patchwork is not working. You've patched on Eagle, you've patched on Hawk. Left behind rocks. Now I have to replace the tire because I have no choice but to come that way to leave out the property. So now I have to, even if I make the big long wide turn, I'm just getting hit, but I'm still gonna hit a divot. I mean, is there something that can be done instead of constantly patching this one particular spot every single year?
Well, if you notice, Eagle Fair does not have nothing but a binder course stop. You know what that means?
Yeah.
It needs to be built up a couple more inches. That's your final course. You're riding on a binder course. It disintegrates quickly. If we had the money, it wouldn't be a binder course. You'd have your final road. All we could do is cold patch it, throw some stone in there, try to stay ahead of it. Because you just can't do a 4x4 patch. Cold patch you can, but as far as patch it to a binder, it doesn't work well. But I'll go out and take a look at it.
Can you please, because now I have to replace my tire now because I've actually done damage coming around that circle when I leave out every day. It doesn't make sense. I have a street right here instead of me going all the way down to County Fair and come all the way back around.
Tomorrow, Trustee Pop will be more than happy. He's rolling the bridge. Wouldn't you be more than happy, Trustee Pop? He'll take a ride over there.
Nothing to do.
Assess the situation.
I will look at that.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I will get in fact, Mr. Wallace, when you take a ride with me, we'll see.
What time is that so I can be looking for you?
I would like to just let you know, if you look throughout the subdivision there have been some patches that were done, I'll call them hot patches that were done, and it will continue to be a part of our annual road program. And the road program is set with the trustee, and it's all dependent upon available funds. So Eagle Fair will, we have made some patch improvements in there. We will continue to do that. And it's information like this that makes us focus on a particular issue and moves that up the list of priorities.
Yeah, I was there when they did the hot patch on Hawk
Yeah.
because it was in front of her house.
And that was part of the 2011, that was part of the 2011-12 road program. As we formulate the next one, you rest assured that that will too include some patches of the worst areas in Eagle Fair. We'll continue to move that forward, and the village is very sensitive to the issue out there.
Okay, you can tell Mr. Kersey Builder they want to build something, get us a grocery store.
We're working. We're working.
Good evening, my name is Ramon Gomez. I live at 26126 Eagle Drive. I would like to thank the mayor and the trustees of Monee for defending our subdivision. I do appreciate what you did for us tonight. And on my behalf of my family, this is our second year that we're here. And like somebody spoke before, the tickets and everything, it's good because it also helps the community bring some kind of money into our community. And by me saying this, I'm very happy with what you've done tonight. At least this is my first time being here because I was really concerned for what was going on in my subdivision where I live. And again, once again, thank you very much for what you did for us tonight.
Thank you for showing up.
Good evening, Jennifer Speaker, 5605 West Vaughn, Unit B. I'm also the chairman of the board of the Elmhurst Chamber of Commerce, and had a question about, I believe it was Trustee Kranzer, a couple of meetings had been pointing out that all the information that we needed to know about was on the Monee Village website. As of this morning, pertaining to anything, vehicle stickers, the water bill, stuff like that, The agenda, the minutes and such have not been updated in a couple of months, and just wanted to find out who's responsible. I know you addressed communicating with the community. If that's where we're supposed to be pointed for information, who's not updating it?
Mr. Wallace?
To my knowledge, we had just recently a computer issue that wouldn't allow us to get on. But to my knowledge, that's all been resolved, and the agendas and minutes are updated on there. And as soon as we conclude this meeting, I will check that. If they are not, it will be addressed tomorrow.
Okay. I called on Thursday about those items, and I know I called on Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and they still weren't updated. I also own a computer consulting company, so I know that the outage shouldn't be long.
Should not be.
One more question. My neighbor over here is scared to get up here now. What is the timeline to finish the streets and the sidewalks for County Fair for the beautification? Is there a timeline, or is it, is there a timeline to finish those streets?
We could find some funding, honestly. If we had the funding, we'd be all over it. Because that's one of our priority spots.
I swear this is my last time, Mayor Tova, I swear.
Next meeting, right?
No, I'm gonna be back. Who knows? Anyone you trustees want to retire? But no, about the beautification, I'm just thinking, if we know like a timeline, like I said, going that communication piece, because anytime you beautify any area, then people want to move there. I mean, we do have the asset of Monee Elementary, which is a great school with great teachers, but you know, like that, the one lady spoke of over in, I guess in Country Meadows, anytime you have that beautification in any community, that's what makes people want to move in. You know, and not move into other subdivisions that might be more complete and thorough, like in Mantino or Peatone. So we can stop people at the 60449 area code and get more taxes in here if we keep our things up. Just like we want to keep our properties up and keep your car up and keep everything up. The only way we're going to get people in our communities if we, you know, bring things into our community as well as, you know, as well as beautified as well. So.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close this session. We're going to go into executive session under purchase or lease of real estate, section 2C5, personnel, section 2C1. Action will be taken. One thing I'd like to say before you get out of the room, I was handed a note from my right that somebody's been told on this board that within 3 weeks, Kentucky Fried Chicken and Taco Bell should be open. It's hot there.
Nice. Not hot here.
You're just lonely. David, we love it like this, don't we?
Colder the better.
Madam Clerk, move with purpose.
So you turned it on purpose, you turned the air on purpose when you grabbed it, didn't you, anybody out of here?
No, it's over there, yeah. Entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
It's 20 minutes after 9 or 21:20.
So moved.
So moved and roll call, please.
Roll call. Hold on. Farquhar?
Yes.
Gray?
Yes.
Horne?
Yes.
Granger? Heck? Stacker?
Okay, Counselor. You got 3 positions to talk about. I'll help you out. You need some help? Where's the kid's application? This is the individual who's taking Deej's spot. Deej is going to the other spot, and then Jason's.
We need a motion and a second to hire or offer employment to Joseph Wheeler for the position of
Mechanic?
mechanic at the rate of $25.44 per hour.
That's correct. I believe that would be, what was the actual title, David, with the mechanic? It was titled?
Director of Maintenance.
Director of Mechanical Maintenance.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Gray,
Yes.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar.
Yes.
You know, I believe these are all subject to any physical.
Yes, there will be taken, well, Jay's,
Background.
Absolutely.
two of them are already here working, they're going. There's only one new person.
The second appointment would be
Dave Frizzell.
Dave Frizzell, subject to the same requirements of all passing and physical that would be applicable. His rate would be $25.44.
No, his rate would be 65,500.
Oh, $65,504 on an annual basis.
That's correct.
Starting date would be
Effective immediately.
effective immediately. Need a motion and a second on that.
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Gray,
Yes.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton, Farquhar.
Yes.
Okay. Jason Pop.
Oh, I'm sorry. The third individual would be Jason Pop, would be on a full-time basis, subject to the same requirements as set forth, discussed with respect to physicals and any background checks. His rate would be $25.44 per hour. The employment would be offered to him on a permanent basis starting immediately.
Effectively after
The position of
electrical, what would you like?
Electrician. Electrical supervisor.
electrical.
Yeah, electrical supervisor.
Electrical supervisor.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Horne,
Yes.
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Present.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Gray.
Yes. Weren't you gonna lag out there? Yeah. I entertain a motion. What? Okay, it's fine. Motion to adjourn.
So moved, second, third, fourth.
Roll call.
Yes.
Thanks,
Franzer,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Stockton,
Yes.
Farquhar,
Yes.
Gray,
Yes. Turn off the mic.
Horne.
Dave? Yes.
Just do not touch.
Who would drink it or something?
Never.